That's happening.
Forever the accurate. What's up, everybody? Gather in. You know, lay back on your couch if you need to watch us. We'll do the therapy session all together. I'm Vince LaRosa, 110 Football. Connor Kalopsis, 110 Football. To my right, to my left is the no longer perfect defenders of the bank. We had you. We pumped you guys up. I believed in you.
Yeah.
That's all that mattered. But JR, Philly, stay with me, Philly. Stay with me. We're going to make it. Okay, we're going to make it through this. We're going to power through this.
It was a rough one.
Yeah, we just watched a rough one, right? You know, it started not great.
Not great.
Then better throughout the match. And then really, you felt like LAFC was pushing possibly for a winner, and then sucker punch.
Yeah.
Straight sucker punch. I just want to get just a little bit before. If you're new here, this is what we do here. We talk you through it. We do a headline. We do a stock up, stock falling. We'll get to all those. You guys can get in the comments and tell us what you think those things are. But I like to do a little banter first. Plus, I gotta try to like resuscitate these guys because they're all Connor's teary-eyed, Philly's in a coma, JR's
might just be you and me, buddy.
Yeah, just maybe me and you. But Philly, I'm gonna go to you. So maybe we wake you up a little bit, man, and just give me your first initial impressions.
What is it with these last-minute, like nail-biting, like Portland, like gut-wrenching plays? The last time we played them last season in November at the bank, Villafana ties the game, a match in which LAFC should have won. It ties the game, steals the win. And then, I mean, look, I got to give credit where credit is due. Sebastian Blanco clearly earning that designated player money, an unbelievable header by Mora. But, you know, it's games like this that just drive you wild. You really felt like LAFC was knocking on the door. You felt like they would come through chance after chance, 6 shots on target, 17 shots. But just to lose in the way that we did in the final seconds at the death, demoralizing, man.
Did it surprise you?
No. Actually, I told JR and you,
I wasn't gonna out you.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll let you.
You'll let me out myself. That at the end of the maybe 2 minutes before that happened, I was like, it would be very on brand for LAFC to let in a goal last minute to a Portland Timber side, and it happened.
Next time, maybe just write it on a piece of paper. Crumple it up
and shut my mouth.
Throw it away. Or eat it. Yeah, just eat it.
Or just eat it.
Burn it.
Yeah.
Got it. Or just don't think of it.
Or that too.
Jared, does this? We're on a streak of 3.
Yeah.
Let's say a fair result would have been the tie.
Sure.
Does the loss change your feeling about this LAC team at all? Like, where do you go from here? Because to Philly's point, it is something about Portland that they do find last-minute winners against us, whatever. The team has actually been better late in games.
Look, it feels worse because it came at the death, but we can't be prisoners of the moment right now. We've got 4 days to respond to this, by the way, in a very good situation. Vancouver, not a great team, so we really need to pick ourselves back up and pick out how we are going to respond, clean up what we did wrong. But look, we've seen the same thing from these last 2 matches. RSL caught us on the counter. Portland catches us on the counter. They want us to play into them like we did and to play long balls over the top. That's what we've been seeing. We have 4 days to right the ship. Does it feel awful? Yes, but we can't be prisoners in the moment. It's really 3 steps forward, 1 step back right now.
Yeah, a lot of players I think would say I would prefer to just get right back at it.
Yes.
Philly, if it's you, just as a fan, do you want to get right back at it, or do you need to take some time to lick your wounds?
I want to strap the gloves back on and go down fighting.
Yeah.
Absolutely want to get back to it. I mean, it's good that they have the quick turnaround because now they've got Vancouver coming into the bank on Saturday. And I feel really bad for Mark Dos Santos and company because they are going to be LAFC's punching bag. I'd be ticked off as a player like right now. And I'm a fan. I love this team. But I imagine if I'm feeling this way, some of those boys in the locker room feel this way. There were plenty of brilliant moments. Thomas Romero had plenty of great saves. We had the return of Brian Rodriguez. There were so many good things that could have come into play, but again, last-minute heroics by Portland just really spoils our hump day, so to speak.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, look, the margins are small. When you can't finish your chances, these are the positions that you kind of put yourself in, although I would say the other team plays a factor. And Portland definitely, to your point, plays that way. And this is what they want to do. They want to crunch the margins. They say, yeah, we might not be able to outscore teams, but if we put ourselves in this position, we're fine with that. We're fine with playing on the knife's edge.
And Vince, we talked about it on our way down here. 74th minute. They sub on Blanco and Mora. The match ends on a goal from Blanco to Mora, and you felt like what also happened in that 74th is that Portland ratcheted up that physicality that we talked about in the pregame. Lots of kind of pinballing around in the box, lots of indecision a little bit by LAFC. But also, I just think Portland got a little more physical, got in us a little bit more than we would have liked, was able to play that ball long.
I mean, they obviously got physical. You saw Diego Chara had cocky hip check Corey Baird just out in front of the box. I mean, how'd that go missed?
Well, you're talking about changes. Let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Right.
Brian Rodriguez was one of the subs in. The other, I want to talk about this. Let's talk about Brian first, but table this and keep this in your mind. Corey Baird played right wing back.
Yeah.
And actually looked interesting.
Yeah.
I'll just say interesting. But Brian, you were on the pregame and you were like, bring him in.
Bring him in?
Bring him in. So what did you think of him?
It felt like he hasn't left, if that makes sense.
Sounds like an underhanded compliment.
He did not exceed expectations. He didn't play terrible, but he didn't do anything really, if that makes sense.
But was it
there was no chance creation that led to a direct shot, whether that were a pass or a shot from himself. And I just wasn't impressed, especially from a designated player. Yes, he's coming back from a loan spell where he didn't play too much. Don't get me wrong, but you know, my expectations weren't that high, and he kind of met them, if that makes sense.
Okay. Good spot for him to come in 1-1. I feel like that's a low risk, possible high reward. Philly, what your take on Brian Rodriguez?
It was an interesting move, and everything that we've talked about, whether it's been positive or negative about Brian, the minute he graced Providence Park, there's nothing I wanted more than for that kid to have scored a goal. You know, I was thinking about this, like his first game at the bank. What's the support going to be like for him? Are the supporters going to accept him, or are they not? And this would have been a dynamite opportunity for him to just be welcomed back in the Bank of California Stadium. He had some moves in there, but I mean, to your point, it struck me as the Brian of old. I mean, he didn't have plenty of opportunities to go out there and well, you know, come into this match with the return of the king that, you know, he probably would have wanted. But yeah, let's put it this way. I really want the kid to succeed at this point. I really, really do. I've said plenty of negative things about him, but I want him to succeed.
Yeah, for me, he so badly wants to succeed. And so maybe that's to his detriment, Scarf, because it seems he so badly wants to be the guy that succeeds.
He is definitely trying too hard at times, but think about the positions that LAFC has put him in. First time he ever checks into a match, he subs on for Vela. So you've got, okay, all right, so he's replacing the greatest player in club history. Tonight, you said it's actually a low-risk situation. I'm going to say this. We're trying to get one. We're throwing bodies forward on the road, trying to steal 3 points against a team we don't like all that much. And then we put in Brian, and who do we take out again? Carlos Vela. We just don't really put him in soft situations. But you know what? He's a DP, right? He's one of our guys that we're paying all the money to, so he should be able to come in those situations. And look, he almost broke through right there at the very beginning. First couple touches, almost had one. I completely agree with Philly. We all, I think, want him to succeed, whether it means that we're going to sell him off for more or whether it means that we play better as a club. Man, this kid does not have an easy road here at LAFC.
Yeah, well, he kind of put himself up against that, right?
For sure.
We could talk for days about that, but let's get into the meat of the show. That means headlines. Headlines, guys. I'm going to go to you first, Connor. Headline for this match.
My headline. Ooh, headline. We'll get him next time. You know, you know, we lost in the last.
You're pleasantly like just kind of even keel today.
I'm content. Okay. You know, 3-game winning streak. It was great. Don't get me wrong. We've dominated most of the past 4 matches, let alone the entirety of the season. I can't help but feel we deserve to win, but I'm not too torn up about the loss. I think we're going to be able to come into Vancouver, punch them around a bit, get 3 points, and move on from there. You know, I don't think this is going to this isn't a big blow for LAFC. Yeah. It's a loss. We'll take it, and we'll move on.
I'm feeling you a little bit because I feel like a tie actually probably would have been fair. And so that's 1 point. You lose that, that's 1 point loss. Obviously, you don't want to give 3 points to a direct rival. You hate the Timbers, but and Bob is going to be livid about the way that they switched off in that moment. But other than that, you came back, you battled back from a really bad first 2 minutes and played a pretty solid game. So there's a lot, I'm with you, there's a lot to be somewhat even-keeled about.
I feel like Portland dominated in the first 2 minutes and the last 2 minutes of the game. Everywhere in between LAFC, it was their game, and it was their game to lose. So.
And everyone in my Twitter mentions will remind me that the score is the only stat that matters. But now I'm going to go to JR. JR, headline.
My headline is this: relax. 4 games in 14 days.
Frankie says relax.
Right. Frankie says relax. Right. 4 games in 14 days. No Atuesta, no Murillo. Those are huge pieces on this club. And I think, honestly, having no Murillo out there might have led to some of the confusion on the back line that we saw a couple of times. Obviously, Atuesta being the leader that he is in the middle of that pitch. Not having those two guys, still creating as many chances as we did, but again, it's chances that weren't finished, right? We talked about that earlier. I'm not content with it at all. I'm not happy that we lost this game. I'm never going to be happy with a loss. I want to be Seattle, right, who runs off, 14 straight unbeaten. I want to be upset about that 15th. Right. I'm upset about the 4th. I wanted this to be a 4-game winning streak, 5-game winning streak. Take it all the way to the All-Star break so that we walk in the story of Major League Soccer, and just not finishing a couple of those chances doomed us yet again.
Yeah, you're in Portland, tough place to play.
Yeah.
Like you said, no Murillo, no Atuesta.
Yeah.
All right, I am starting to feel a little more tranquilo from both of you.
A little better.
But I'm going to go to Philly.
Are you sure you want to come in here?
I'm going to go to Philly. I got to get his headline. So let's see if we're going to keep this rolling here.
I mean, look, I can't say I understand everything that everybody said here, but part of what we do here is now we're going to console each other. You know, we were talking about a loss, we give each other a hug. Like,
yeah, you guys are going to end it out on this camera, and you're going to hug it out.
But I mean, to me, it's like if I'm going to exercise the demons, I'm going to say what I feel off the top of my head. Last minute demoralization, a game that, all right, fine. I wasn't happy. I would have been the happiest with a tie. Still felt like we could have and should have won that game. But again, just the last minute things. You asked the question earlier on whether I wanted to beat Portland more or Seattle, and I don't know. I guess at this point, I kind of want to change my tune. I would rather beat Portland. It's, you know, they're much better at home than they are on the road. LAFC was just gaining some headwind with playing on the road and getting some wins. But I mean, geez, if I was a player coming off that turf right now, I might kick a water bottle or two in a locker. But I mean, after today, you know, we get back on the high horse, we figure it all out, and then we come back, slap the gloves back on, and come out swinging on Saturday.
What's the headline? I need the Philly turn of phrase.
My headline, last minute demoralization, was my headline.
I'm going to go with living on a knife's edge, because the margins were just so narrow, and that knife cut you.
Yeah.
Demoralizing.
Cut you this time. So if we can, we're going to go to Stock or Isaac.
Sure.
So find something, guys.
Yeah.
No, I think there is something to find this night.
Plenty.
Again,
Plenty.
to Connor's point, they played well in the first 2 minutes. The last 2 minutes, there's a wide swath of positivity that I think you can find from this. And I think you're jumping in. I like it.
I mean, I
like it.
I do have
Philly.
something to be positive about. Look, we've had a goalkeeper controversy for so many seasons right now. The saves that Thomas Romero made, world class. Some unbelievable saves where he was completely shielded off from like the visibility of the ball. And he kept us in this game. The game probably could have ended a lot sooner than it did. But Thomas Romero, to me, there's no doubt about it. This kid's our starter. This kid's our future. And at this point, I envision him as the best goalkeeper LAFC's ever had. That's my stock rising.
Best goalkeeper, wow.
I have a theory that you just took all of our stock right.
No.
No?
Nope.
No? Oh, hey.
I will say it was.
Well, so wait, then let's go to you because
mine would have been the same, but I'll.
Do you have time to flip it?
I do have time to flip because
Okay,
I
what is
choose
it?
mine. Corey Baird.
Wingback.
Corey Baird.
Yeah, we didn't talk too much about this.
Right.
What did you think?
You did mention it, and I thought it looked pretty good for someone who's come in, played a lot in the first half of the current season.
Yep, as one of the three in attackers.
Hasn't played too much since. Mm-hmm. You know, seeing him come in and you know, now with B-Rod back, now you got B-Rod, Diego Rossi, and Vela, especially when you're playing with just two up front. Yeah. Seeing Baird come in and kind of hold his own on that right flank, I love to see it, especially when Moon Juan came out.
Well, you know, everyone's been kind of talking about this rumored player and how that might change things. Maybe when you see a guy like Corey Baird playing it right back, and look, he's got the type of engine for it. He's got the willingness to press. I think he can carry the ball very well forward. The one thing that really lacks is his finishing. This maybe removes that burden a little bit for him. So I like where you're going there. JR, who's your stock rising?
Look, it's simple. Stock rising, Brian Rodriguez.
You did it.
If you don't play, and now you
So
play.
you went from nothing to just something.
Exactly. And look, this is what Brian wants, a chance to showcase his abilities, whether it's to stay with us for a long, happy career or to be sold off somewhere else, go back to Peñarol, whatever it might be.
Not going back to Peñarol.
He just wants the chance. That's what he wants. But he just wants the chance to show
what baby
his
wants,
talent.
baby doesn't
Right.
understand.
Well, you know, he backed himself into that Almeria corner, too, and that didn't work out so well. But look, stock rising for me is Brian Rodriguez. Rodriguez simply because there were moments, right, where we saw the brilliance, where we saw his ability to take on one or two defenders, so you at least have to account for wherever he is on the pitch. And that's something that, I'm sorry, with Corey Baird, Danny Musovski, Raheem Edwards, a lot of these guys that we have playing up front, you don't have to account where they are every single moment. But Brian can turn it, like you said, living on the knife's edge a little bit there. He can be that knife's edge that also stabs the other team as well, if we want to continue that analogy, as kind of dark as it kind of sounds. But to me,
let's go there.
If you don't play, and now you're in the lineup, and now you're playing, and you're back in black and gold, there are a lot more people watching LAFC than there are Almeria in La Liga 2.
And I didn't mean to steal anybody's thunder if anybody had Thomas Romero to say, but I've been negative. I don't want anybody to look at me as an angry Eeyore going on the rest of the show.
No, that's the game. You always got to try to get in there. You got to try to steal from people. I love, actually, that's my favorite part, because normally I go last and I'm like, ooh, I did it with you guys. I tried to play you into playing somewhere else because I was going to steal your guys. I will say, I think honorable mention, Stock Rising should be Murillo, because we did miss him in the back line. But I'm going to go a little bit off the board here. I'm going to go Marco Farfan. I think so often we think of a player as having to be perfect, and we just see them in those small moments when they make a mistake and, oh my God, he's garbage. Get him out of there. He didn't just start badly in those first 2 minutes. It carried on into the 10th minute and a little bit longer. But as the game grew on, and in that second half, look, he's still not perfect. The kid's still young. But going back home, it obviously weighed a little bit heavier on him than we thought it would. And I thought that coming from where he did a just complete disaster, giving away the ball and then also being kind of at fault, not getting close to Valeri, 2 mistakes on 1 play. I thought he did. You got to give these kids credit, because look, the game is about mistakes, and the game is about how you can get through mistakes. It's 90 minutes. The margins are small. You can't always dwell on them, so I'm going to give him. I'm going to give a little credit to him for picking himself up.
Look, I appreciate that, but we haven't seen, when Corey Baird played against RSL and now Farfan against Portland, we have not seen those guys respond very well in those situations. I think it's just unfortunate, because you hit the nail on the head. The moment was just a little too big for him, coming back, wanting to do a little bit too much, right? And that's what we saw in that first, I mean, that was rough, right? He makes a turnover and doesn't mark Valeri. But that being said, the way he responded was great. It's just unfortunate that he had to respond from such a big calamity at the beginning of the match.
All right, so this is going to be the part where maybe we get to have a little fun. I just love the Price is Right music. Stock falling, guys. Connor, I'm going to go to you first. Bring some fire. Stock falling. The fans want blood. You know they do.
So this isn't necessarily a statistical take, but this is more of a...
I don't go to you for your stats.
This is more of a body language.
Oh, God.
Blake Bodley?
Okay, body language. Blake Bodley is your stock falling.
Hunger. I believe, especially...
You hear some tummies growling out?
Yeah, that's what I heard. No. Coming into the end of the match, Portland ended up getting the winner. Although we were on the front foot for most of that, they came back and were able to get a goal. After that, I didn't see the LAFC team wanting to get another goal. And I see this too often, where the team isn't necessarily content with getting a draw or a loss, but it doesn't seem like they want to win. And I saw Raheem Edwards at the end of the game. We had a set piece, and we had half the team still in our half, and he's like, get up the field. We're trying to score a goal. What are you guys doing? And we need more voices in the team that are able to rally the team to try to get a result. There's not enough captains on the team.
Okay, to your point, I've just been told by our awesome production staff that somebody's in the chat, Porter Davis, he was there at the game.
Okay.
He said he's leaving the game. He cannot hear. It was so loud in that building. Do you think that played a part in what Connor's saying? Do you think that after that goal, it was so loud that those guys were just like, end it?
Look, it better not have. And to what you're saying, they only had like 30 seconds to kind of want that win, want that goal, right? But when you play in front of the 3252, when you play in front of the 22,000 of the black and gold faithful, the best fans, the best supporters in Major League Soccer, if Portland's loud, that better not affect you. But
it's Soccer City.
We did see volume affect us one other time down in Leon. I definitely felt like the supporters and the volume in Leon shook a couple of our players and surprised a couple of our players at the very beginning of the match and sometimes throughout. So maybe we're onto something there, but I would like to think that the mean fans of Portland wouldn't take us by surprise by, I don't know, supporting their team. They are Soccer City.
Hey,
Gross.
Oh,
Gross.
Yeah, gross. Don't ever say that again.
Gross. That's fine.
We're gonna go to more stock falling, but I want to get back to the chat for a second. A lot of people are in our chat right now, and they're talking about Kim Moon-Won.
Yeah.
They're saying Kim Moon-Won should not have been subbed out. Philly, there is a game in 4 days. The turf is very hard there. Kim Moon-Won did have an injury that he's obviously clearly gotten over. Is it the right move? Because Corey Baird was effective in Kim's spot, but was it right or wrong? Give me a take.
You bring up a really good point. I mean, Portland has 2 designated players that tore their ACL, and I would say that carpet is partially responsible for that. I mean, should he have come out? If there was ever a time to maybe give him a break, I would have said it been against Vancouver. That would have been my thing. He was passing.
Because you don't think we need him?
No. I honestly, maybe this is me like overlooking things. I don't feel that we would need him as much against Vancouver as we would against Portland. And he was connecting extremely well with the players. He's playing good defense. I mean, he is, to me right now, our shining star. I would have loved to have seen him finish this game. And if Bob were to give him a break, it would have been against Vancouver on Saturday.
You said Corey Baird was good. I'm going to agree.
But not
I think,
great.
But you know what? To be honest, I love Kim Moon-Won. I mean, he's the most dynamic player on the ball, but I didn't see as much going forward and getting on the ball. Corey Baird got in there and he was on the ball extensively. And also was pressing really well.
He was creating chances too.
I thought, look, and I'm a homer for Bob, I guess, but I thought that might have been a good sub. He might have been a little tired, wasn't quite as effective, put in some fresh legs, but did you think Kim should have stayed on the pitch?
No, I don't think so. I think it was reasonable.
Okay. Well, then let's keep moving on to unless you got something quick.
No, well, my stock falling.
Oh, then let's move on to your stock falling. Let me do my job.
Well, but it actually goes to what you just said. You said you're kind of a Bob Homer. My stock falling in this was the chess match between Giovanni Savarese and Bob Bradley. I just mentioned the 2 players that Gio subs in are the ones that combine on that game-winning goal. I thought that maybe Bob got out-subbed a little bit here. I thought that his moves that he made didn't generate the same number of quality chances. We saw some incredible passing to generate some quality chances before like the 78th, 79th minute. It kind of felt like the last 10, 15 minutes of the match were like street football, right? There was lots of turnovers back and forth.
Yeah, it was stretched.
It kind of lost its shape a little bit. I felt like we lost our shape a little bit because, like you said, we've got players like now Corey Baird playing a different position than they're maybe used to. Raheem Edwards kind of doing the same thing. Players playing where they're not necessarily comfortable yet.
Yeah.
But I think it bodes well for our versatility and depth later on down the road.
Okay. I like where you brought it back around because what I was going to say, and you guys are both baseball fans as I am as well, a lot of times a manager makes a move and he's either right or wrong, and that's just the way it goes.
Right.
So is Savarese really out coaching Bob, or is it just his players made him look a little bit smarter than Bob in the moment? That's what I'm wondering.
He made the right moves today.
He made the right moves today, but how did the moves not work in conjunction with each other? Or just, I mean, look, Sebastian Blanco's been injured. You get the luxury of getting to bring on Sebastian Blanco.
Right?
Well, can I just say, when is bringing on Sebastian Blanco and Mora a bad move?
Right.
Period. You know what I mean? So him bringing on those players is a good thing and will
Right.
be good on him regardless.
But you bring him on in the 74th minute to steal one late for you. And that's exactly what they did. And I felt like we brought on guys, and even, was it Warren Barton talked about how the guys we brought on were very forward kind of thinking players.
Yep.
And while I think we got just as forward as we did before, I didn't think there was that shape, that connectivity that we might have seen with some of the other players that we had previously on the pitch. Going back to what you said real quick about Moon, I don't ever want to see that kid come off the pitch.
No.
I get, and I agree with, like we talked about, 3 games in 10 days, 4 games in 14 days, and Moon is becoming a linchpin. But I do think that if you're going to not have Atuesta on the pitch, that you need another player world-class to kind of counterbalance that, and Moon seems to be one of the few guys that can.
I will say this, a lot of times when players do get subbed off, there is a science to it. There is load management. So sometimes it's not always directly a manager's decision.
Sure.
But again, we could debate this for N days, and this is why it's fun. This is why we do this show.
Why we do it?
You're just a fun killer, Vince.
I'm just trying to provide context.
Wow.
I think that's all my job is here. I mean, I can leave.
No, you can stay.
I got places to go.
Please stay.
Where?
The bar,
Philip Monster Studio.
Philly's place. Who do I got now? I got Philly. You got your stock falling, right? Is that who we're going to now? Because I got Connor and I got JR. I got to go to Philly.
Look, I mean, it's obvious over the course of the first 10 minutes of the match, I was far from a fan of Marco.
That's why I go to this guy. That's why he's here. That's why he's here.
Wow. That was
It was the moment too big for him? I might have hyped him up a little too much, thinking that he would have a chip on his shoulder. He would come in to a place that he was homegrown in, to a place against a team that he loved. But the moment was too big for him. But maybe it was Giovanni Savarese, knowing what his weaknesses are and exploiting them with the players that he was getting thrown at. He did have a really nice move towards the halfway point of the second half where he broke an ankle, but, I mean, he turned the ball over. I don't want to give him a complete stock down. There's no player on this team I really want to give a stock down to.
Oh, we love everyone here, but you got to do it for the show.
I hear that.
Do it for the likes.
Normally I would have no problem, but, I mean, we were playing a pretty solid match up until the very end. So stock down would be fatigue. Stock down could be just last-minute mess ups. I don't know. I don't have a specific player I want to blame. They lost as a team today.
I'll tell you what, Connor. He's stealing my shtick as a homer here. He's really hedging his bets.
Again, I was coming off as an angry Eeyore. I had to change it around a little bit.
He's really trying to convince us that Marco Farfan is not his stock down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though he was his stock down.
He's trying to convince himself that Marco Farfan's not his stock down.
You know where I'm going to go? I'm going to go Diego Rossi.
Good.
Ooh.
I'm still, and you mentioned this last game.
Yeah.
You said, I felt like he's not playing up to the player he is. And we talked a little bit about transfer, and I didn't necessarily totally agree on transfer. I still think he's finding his way in this system where he's going to be a little more central. He's not able to come off the back shoulder of that fullback in those spaces between the center back. I'm seeing some things that he's doing nice, like that goal against RSL. That's fantastic. You're able to drop deep, turn upfield, face the ball, play 1-2s. Not everyone can do that. I know that everyone thinks every forward just gets the ball and does things and creates goals.
Right.
Not every forward can do that. A lot of forwards are just kind of donkeys and they just put it in at the end of the day.
Donkeys?
Donkeys. Keep that one. But he needs to find more. I need him to time his runs a little bit better. Maybe provide something more behind to maybe create some more space for Carlos Vela. Time some more runs off of Vela. He seems to not be quite finding the right gaps and spots from a central position as opposed to when there's a 3 and they rotate a lot.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up, though. Maybe it's the 3-5-2, 5-3-2 hybrid that we like to play that's kind of taken that role of his where he can make maybe an overlapping run or a run through the box to pull the defender, whatever it might be. It's taken that role for him out because he's got to wait for those wing backs to push all the way up. He's got to wait for them to fill a specific lane. Look, I was a water polo player for a little bit, and that was kind of your role of your drivers on the outside, right? And you have to wait for them to bring the ball up before you feed it in the middle. That's kind of what we're seeing here with Diego Rossi. I will remind you that was a beautiful pass from Diego Rossi.
It was.
For that goal.
That was the right pass and the exact right thing to do.
And I think we see how those two world-class players play off of each other so well. But I think that maybe the 3-5-2, 5-3-2, for everything that it has brought us from our wingbacks, it's unfortunately, I don't think, allowed Diego Rossi to showcase all of his gifts, all of his talents, like he was last year when he was the Golden Boot winner twice in the season, not just regular season, but in the COVID Cup tournament.
I mean, he was the focal point of the offense last season. Carlos Vela wasn't there for a majority of it. You need a guy like Diego Rossi to step up. But again, what we have potentially going forward is a new player coming in. So this hybrid that we're playing, we might end up reverting back to a 4-3-3, having this kid play in the middle and Carlos and Diego on the sides doing their thing. I mean, we have potential to do some really good things. We played, like, Portland has not been a good team this season. They started off interestingly well in the CONCACAF Champions League, but, you know, they're hit by the injury bug. Still a game that we should have won, but I think all things will be absolved against Vancouver on Saturday. I'm definitely looking forward to that. I'm glad we don't have to wait 2 weeks for this to happen. I'm glad we get to go back into a match Saturday. And, hey, we're going to be back at Bank of California Stadium more often than we have been in quite a while. So I'm pretty excited about that. Stock rising, going back to Christmas Tree Lane and going back to the bank.
Let me just say really quick, early predictions, okay?
Oh,
LAFC,
we don't normally do this on this show.
LAFC will either win like 5-0 against Vancouver or have a shock loss against Vancouver. No one between.
But like a 2-1 or a 1-0.
Yeah,
not like
Vancouver's
not scoring 5
Vancouver's
goals.
not scoring 5 goals. It's either 5-0 LAFC or like 2-1 Vancouver.
Are we saying shock loss like how we lost this game, or that we lose at all to Vancouver?
Just lose, period.
I'm going to say this, though. I'm going to throw this kind of back at you a little bit.
What's going on here? There's no predictions for the next game.
Is LAFC as good as we really think they are in terms of, hey, we're finally in, tied for 4th, above the playoff line? We're not that far from being 8th, 9th, or 10th, right? So
well, this is MLS. No one's that far.
True, but I'm going to say this. I don't know that any win would be a shock for the Black and Gold faithful right now, and I don't know that any loss, maybe outside of if we play Inter Miami somehow this season, would be a shock loss for us. I just think that we're still finding who we are with all the different changes and transitions, although I love the 5-0 prediction. We're not going to do predictions, I guess, but I like that for Vancouver.
One last thing. Do we miss Mark Anthony Kaye?
Says the Canadian. I love it.
Mark Anthony Kaye.
I love it.
And that's a wrap.
And on that bombshell, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Connor Klopsis, thank you. Thank you, Scarf. Thank you, Philly. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. This has been great. Guys, we're going to post up the schedule. Here's what we got coming up for you the rest of the week. The big show coming to you on Friday. There's the schedule out there.
There it is.
It looks funky. It looks funky on our monitor, but hold on. Little magic of TV. Here it goes. Ready? Now.
There we go.
There it is. Hey, Friday, the big show, guys. That's going to be with me and Jessica Black. And then back. Hey, you guys are going to be back on Saturday.
We'll be back.
Defenders of the Bank will be back on Saturday.
Ourselves.
So we'll have instant reaction. We'll have the virtual tailgate before at Bank. Catch us at Christmas Tree Lane. Connor, unfortunately, will not be there, but it was good having you back.
Thank you.
Anything else, guys?
We'll try to do better next time.
I'll try to do better next time. Bye-bye.